Alrighty, so today, guys, we're gonna have a real conversation. Okay, this training isn't about macros, it's not about workouts, it's not about protein loading, it's not about what to eat. Today, we're going to talk about the thing that's actually in the way. Okay, what's actually holding us back. Now, let's be honest with ourselves right now. How long have you been saying, I know what to do, I just don't do it? And type in the chat if that's you. You can be honest. This is a safe space. Okay. It doesn't have to be fitness or anything. How long have you been saying, oh, I know I need to do that. I'm just not doing it. And it could be something so mundane as the mail or doing your taxes. Right? Type in the chat. And how many Mondays have maybe you started fresh and then by Thursday, you're back to where you started? And I'm not calling anybody out. What's crazy is that I'm actually calling myself out because that was actually me. And for years, I realized, and I did this 3-day workshop last week. It was transformative. It's one of the most transformative things I've ever done. I've done a lot of masterminds, personal development stuff, but this was super powerful. And what I've learned is that for years, I'm about to turn 30 next month. And for years, I've told myself this story that I'm just a logical person. My parents were immigrants and we sacrificed, so I just work hard. That's been the story that I've been telling myself. That's just who I am. And it felt like a fact. It didn't feel like a story. It just felt like that was my identity. That's who I am. That's in my DNA. That's in my blood. But that story that's gotten me to where I am today, because it's actually gotten me to the place I am today, and I'm grateful for that. But that was holding me back from things I didn't even know I was missing. And those things I was missing was real connection, real intimacy, and healing relationships that I didn't even know were broken in the first place. I had generational trauma that I couldn't even see because it was just how I am. And here's the crazy part is that I didn't even see it because when you're in this pattern, you can't see the pattern, right? How many of us have heard think outside the box? Like drop in the chat, like, let me know who's heard of that frame of like think outside the box. The thing is, we can't even see what's outside of our box. Our box is our operating system that we've had from the day we were born up until this moment. And the crazy thing is, we can't even see outside the box. So the idea of we don't know what we don't know is why we've gotten to a place in our life where we feel like that's it. And so until we can kind of see what's outside of that box, we're essentially stuck. And that's what I learned about myself through this process. And I want to share this with you. Now, there was a lot that we really went through, and I kind of want to just like open up the idea to you guys. So I invite you guys to just reflect with me on this 20-30 minutes that we have today. Okay. Now, let me share with you a story. Okay, let's like do a scenario. Okay, this analogy changed everything for me on the first day. Okay, who here plays like poker or like Texas Hold'em? Does anyone play like Texas Hold'em or anything like that? Bob, do you play? Okay, cool. I don't really play poker. I don't really know much about poker. All I know is that you got chips. You throw it in there, right? You everyone's dealt with for those who don't know, right? Everyone's dealt with a hand, and you play your hand to the best of your ability, in a group of people, and whoever wins the pot, right? So let me give you an analogy that changed everything for me. Okay, imagine this. Okay, say you're at a poker table and you're playing with some buddies, you're playing with some friends, and you just have some pennies on the line, just some pennies, some quarters, okay? And you're playing and you got to use the bathroom. Okay. And the reason why I use the bathroom is I actually have a small, really small bladder. So when I go on road trips, Lana, the fact that you're on a road trip, the thing that caught to my mind was like I get really nervous and anxious because every time I drive somewhere far and I live in LA, so like I've had situations where I had to like get out the car, park across crazy stories. Anyways, like I have a bladder issue. And imagine that you have to use the bathroom. What do you do? Like you really have to use the bathroom. You're on the line. You got pennies on the line. What do you do? You get up, right? You walk away. I mean, you have to take a piss. It's no big deal, right? Because there's no stakes. Now imagine you play that game again. Okay. You're at the poker table, but instead of pennies, there's $100,000 on the table. And now you have to take a piss. Same thing. Bladder's up. You guys hit your water intake, right? You hit your water intake. You hit your 64 ounces of water intake. You got to take a piss so bad. You still walking away from the table? Because if you walk away, you can't come back. Let me know. Are you guys walking away from the table? Hell no. Hold that fucker. Love that. Yeah. Hey, whether you have a $500,000 or $1 million, you got $100,000 on the line, Helen. Are you walking away from that table? That's the question I got for you, right? Hell no. You're locked in. You're focused. You're not you're not distracted. You're fucking you're holding that thing, right? Because the stakes are real. Now think about your health now. Think about your body. Think about your relationships, your energy, how you show up for your kids. That is 100K hand. But most of us are playing like it's pennies. You're built for it, Lana. And that reframe right there just hit me so hard, so hard. And I don't know if it resonates with you guys, but that's when I realized that the stakes were so small and we've been operating like our hand is dealt with pennies. And so we kind of just let things fall. Right? Now, here's what I hear from people all the time, including myself. This is just like we hear this all the time, right? I just don't have the energy anymore. And I'm getting old, or I'll get back to it tomorrow. Things are just busy today. I'll get back to it tomorrow. You know what? I'll have that call next week. I know I need to schedule that appointment. Oh, you know what? I'll schedule it next week. Things pop up, man. I'm just not in my control. But the kids got this, right? I got a meeting, obligations. It's not in my control, right? I just can't. Life kind of just pours into me. How many else of us have heard that? It kind of just happens to me, man. It's just my situation. Sound familiar? But here's the thing. These aren't actual problems in our life. These are just brakes. Imagine trying to drive a car forward, okay? Your life is like you're in a car, you're driving forward, right? That's why we're all here. That's why you all reached out to me, or I reached out to you, and that's why you're spending a freaking Sunday morning, 10 a.m. on a call like this, because you are going forward in life. You know you're destined for more. That's why you're here, right? There's a lot of other clients that didn't show up on the call. You guys are here for a freaking reason. So you're driving forward. But imagine trying to drive forward, but the emergency brake is on. You're pressing on the gas, but you got the e-brake on. So you're trying, but it feels heavy. You're exhausting yourself because you're essentially not really going as fast as how hard you're pushing. And the thing is here, I want to share this with you guys, is that you can't turn the brakes off until you see them. And up until this moment, we haven't been able to see them. And so we've been driving so hard with the brakes on this whole time, and it feels heavy. So it really has nothing to do with that you're not eating enough protein. Now, there is some part truth to that, the physical part. It's not that you're not drinking enough water. It's not that you're not working out hard enough. It's that up until this point in your life, you've been driving forward with the e-brakes on. And my intention is my goal is to first do it for myself and to unlock that. And I've been able to do that a little bit. And that's why I'm actually committed myself to another 5 days of intense, deep work. So that way I can also help you do that. Okay. Who here resonates with that a little bit? Curious. What's coming up for you guys? What's coming up? Love to hear. Share it in the chat. What feelings are coming up? Bob, I'm curious what's coming up for you. You can unmute. Yeah. Or Christine, what's coming up for you? Oh yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I think it's just, you kind of reflect back of where you are and how you got to where you've been. And for me, I think this is a time where I need to focus a little bit on me. I've always focused on everything else around me. And it, it's so critical. I'm coming up on, a couple of years away from 60. And this is the time where, um, the most important thing you have is your health, really. I mean, it's just, you've got to take care of yourself. And so I think it's reflecting on kind of where you are. And you asked the question how you feel. And I think it's like, I feel pretty good because I feel like I'm on a good path, even though I know it's going to be a long journey.
Love that. And Bob, for you, I'm curious. So for those who don't know, Bob, really, really respect Bob, CEO, great father, great partner. Bob, what has been the main driver for your life up until this point? Because I can tell now you have this reflection where you're like, you know what, I need to pour into myself and my health. But up until this point in your life, what has been the biggest driver for you? Because you're really successful. So would love to know.
I think it's just, I've always pushed myself to be the very, very best I can be in everything I do. And so, I've been really lucky. I have a great wife. She's done an amazing job raising my kids. I mean, honestly, I give her all the credit. She has the hardest job being a stay-at-home mom because I think getting your kids to where you want them to be is so critical. And focusing so much on my career. And I think I've accomplished those things. But the one area where I've really felt like I've fallen short is how I feel about myself. And I'm not. It's not like I've let myself go to obese levels, but I just I want to feel as good about how I've taken care of myself as how I've done things professionally and financially.
Thanks for sharing, Bob. Powerful. Christine, what's coming up for you as we're having this conversation?
Just thinking a lot about priorities in life and then prioritizing myself, which has been really difficult, you know? It's always difficult because you don't want to disappoint other people, but then you know you need to prioritize yourself in order to show up for those people. So it's a very difficult balance. Um, I'm not going to change overnight, but I'm trying day by day just to make those incremental changes, and value myself more.
What is one thing that you can commit to yourself today to pour back into you?
Just resting is the big issue, like I'm not great at resting and sleeping, so I'm just trying to take it easy today, and not go too hard. Like I wanted to go work out this morning, but I was like, I sort of just need to lay in bed a little longer because I
Mm,
only got 4.5 hours of sleep. So,
it's perfect. That's how you take care of yourself. What about you, Helen? What came up for you as we're having this conversation?
Well, I was kind of thinking like, damn, this is another like motivational speech, like another like mental health exercise, goddamn, But I do think like the whole like driving with the e-brakes on, I think like when you're working, like I think in general, a lot of us are probably at baseline like a decent amount of like hardworking people, right? And like I think with the whole thinking outside the box or you don't know what you don't know. So driving with the e-brakes on felt comfortable because even though you're not going forward, you're moving somewhat and you think that it's enough. It's gotten you this far. So like in a sense, you're comfortable with it. And so with the e-brakes on, it's just kind of like your comfort zone. And I think like learning to like stop doing that is a little bit scary because I mean, I feel like I've done it before in school where like, I was making 70s or making C's or B's with like studying with like flashcards, right? But until I let the flashcards go and learn a new way to learn, which is like YouTube videos and like hands-on experience that I like really started making an A. But then it was scary because I'm like, dude, what if I switch up my study game and then I actually fail, you know? So I think but like you're right, like you don't know what you don't know. And I think that goes a long way. Like I think the best doctors and nurses that I've worked with, they're all very like smart people, but they're smart because they recognize that they don't know what they don't know. And the people who
Mm.
think that they know everything are actually the dumbest people.
Mm.
So
It's
yeah, I mean,
powerful.
I think yeah, I mean, they're even now, like, I know I say, like, oh, I've joined this program and, like, I've been doing a lot better and I'm on the right track and you give me words of encouragement, but there, if I guess I'm starting to feel too comfortable, you can just kind of start thinking, like, okay, you may be doing great right now, but there's always something to improve on, like, and it's a fine balance, right? Because you don't want to be too hard on yourself, but you don't want to not give it your 110%, you know? I guess you aim
Absolutely.
for 100%, 110% and hopes that you get, 90 or something.
Totally. And a lot of us have a lot more capacity than we realize. And so, kind of like to the analogy of the brakes, we have that in us, but a lot of us have these brakes on. And until we can take the brakes off, which we don't see what we don't see, then we can actually feel a lot more momentum in us. So it's less of we don't know what to do. It's more of how do we know what to do, but why aren't we doing it? right? And for a lot of us, it's like, you know what? I knew that I was supposed to work out. I know I'm supposed to be healthy. I know I should probably do these things, but why do we wait until it gets to a certain point, right? Why do we wait until the pain and there's this, this is how humans operate. Humans don't operate off of really desire. We operate off of pain. Most people that come to me don't really commit to themselves until they actually end up at the doctor's office and then they get their blood panels and it's like everything is in the red, right? And so why do we operate like that? Why do we wait until it's so late? And so my whole goal is how do we get all of us to start operating in a place where we can make these bigger momentum strides and be a lot more proactive than being reactive, and to also do it in a way where we don't have to suffer and have this mentality of like, I need to sacrifice in order for me to win. Okay. And so that's why I invite you guys too. Now, I wanted to share with you actually, I was hoping Ami was on this. Ami was on our master class. She's one of our clients. She's a nurse, and I wanted to kind of share this story with you guys. And it really resonated with me as I was building out this training. So Ami's working, full time. She's a mom, and she was also planning on going back to school. So she's really wanting to excel in her career. And her story was that I just don't have enough. I don't have enough time, and it's fair. She works full time, long shifts. Um, she has a great role in her department as well. So a lot of people are counting for her. She wants to show up for her, son's basketball games, and she caught her health kind of declining, and she just wasn't having the same kind of edge that she had, and it was really eating at her. Does anyone else kind of also maybe resonate with this a little bit, right? Maybe at some point in your life. But here's what actually happened. Once we were able to help her see that pattern in her life, when she got crystal clear on what version of herself she actually wanted to be, in just 4 weeks with us, she lost 5 pounds of body fat because we got her DEXA scan, so we know the numbers. She lost 5 pounds of body fat. She gained 3 pounds of muscle. Okay. She ran a race with her son, and she wasn't running before. Mind you, she came to me going like, I barely have energy to like honestly fold the laundry. She ran a race. She's leading trainings for her department. She's speaking on camera. She's getting compliments everywhere in just 4 weeks. But the thing is, nothing changed with her schedule. Her job didn't get easier. School didn't slow down, and her kids didn't suddenly just not need her as much, right? But what's changed was the version that of herself that she decided and she chose to let go, the story that's gotten to where she is today. So that way she can decide on the version she can tomorrow. Okay. And so here's the truth. And this is what I want to leave you guys with today, because I think you guys showed up for a reason. Life only gets harder the longer you wait. It does not get easier, it gets harder. And we only get one shot at this. We get one fucking life. And if we don't live with intention, then we might as well just quit. I feel so called to get on this call to share this with you guys. I don't know where it was going to go because this is kind of out of my wheelhouse, right? But I feel so called to share this with you guys this morning. And if you don't have kids right now, You have the ability to go all in on your life right now. No excuses. Go all in, full send, not 50%, not 80%, 100% full sending on your life. I really love that term, full send it, right? If you're a snowboarder, right? There's a word that you say you full send, right? You send it all the way down, like you don't look back. And if you do have a family, if you do have kids, you get something even more powerful. You get the opportunity to be the inspiration that you get to lead by example. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. I don't have kids yet. That's my vision for myself is to have a family. But man, if you have that right now, what a beautiful thing that is that you get to do something bigger than yourself to be that inspiration. So here's what I'll leave you guys with today. Okay. I want to invite you to live a life with no regrets. And that's the scariest place to be in. Imagine living a life, getting to the end, getting to the last day of your life and knowing that you have some regrets, knowing that you could have, knowing that you should have. So I invite you all to make a decision today, not tomorrow, not the next hour, not the next, you know, not when Monday starts, today. And this is part one. We're going to dive, we're going to go to dive in deeper in the next couple sessions. But the only thing for now is I want you to sit with this one question. What story are you telling yourself that you think is just who you are? You don't have to fix it tonight. Ponder and think about it. And we're going to continue this in the next couple of trainings as we continue to dive deeper. So, awesome. I want to open up the floor. Any thoughts, takeaways, what resonated with you most? Uh, I guess we can kind of go around the room. I was just calling you, Lana, like what you said it definitely resonates for you and that you didn't sign up for height maintenance requirements. So share with me what stood out to you.
Yeah, I think what's going through my head is just like how it always like things were easy in the past. Like I didn't really have to think about or plan my eating, my workouts, all of the things that now are definitely more of a reality. And so while I'm thinking about it, I could just sit there and be mad about it and not do anything, which I did for a minute for sure. But then signing on to actively participate in the maintenance of my body, and recognizing that it will be easier if I start now, which you had sort of brought that up a little bit. So I think that's what's been going through my head a bit. And like, yes, it gets tiring sometimes. Yes, it can be overwhelming. I may not have some of the same responsibilities as some other folks, but we're all busy. We're all trying to fit things in and do well for ourselves. So yeah, I think committing to it and feeling like, yes, okay, I'm on board. This is where I'm at. Let's make this as good as I possibly can.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And one powerful thing that I want to share with you guys too is the words that we use. That's another thing I really learned. And now I'm catching it. So when I have calls with you guys, I'm listening to the words you said. And Lana, you said something that stood out to me. You said, I have to cook or I have to meal prep it. It's not that we have to. we get to, you get the opportunity to take care of yourself. You get the privilege to uphold your body and to take care of your body and to show it love. The fact that you have standards for yourself, that you love yourself, that is why you are putting in the effort to feed your body, to nourish your body. How powerful that is when we flip that, right? We don't have to do this. We get to do this. How powerful of a switch that is, right? So the next workout that you guys do, or the next time you guys have to meal prep, because I know that's a freaking annoying thing to do, right? Oh my God, I have to get my meal, I have to get my Greek yogurt, right? And I have to, we don't have to, because we're all grown adults here. The power is in the choice, and we get to. Yeah, so that's good. Bob, what resonated with you most here? What's coming to you? We're gonna come back. Helen, what's coming up for you?
I think I really like resonate with the, living life with no regrets because, I think I do it when I kind of like I guess take care of my patients in the ICU. When patients code, they die. And I always think to myself, like, is there anything that I could have done better to prevent this patient from dying? Or, did I absolutely do everything that I could? And I think like I probably did a little bit more in my 20s too, but like in life, I feel like I should approach it that way. Like I want to know that I did
Mm,
everything that I could. It helps you cope with like bad things better. So like I don't know. I think a big thing for me is like I don't have kids yet. I want kids, and like when I do start trying next year or whatever it is, I want to know that I did everything that I absolutely could and live life with no regrets. Like in a sense where so what if I can't get pregnant the first try, the second try? I know that I did everything that I could. No coulda, shoulda, woulda. Oh, I should have done this. I should have invested in my health. I should have
hmm
ate more protein. I should have tried to lose more weight before I start trying. Like, and then it's too late. Like I think knowing that you're doing everything that you could have done, like it's just a better way of living life. I don't know if that like makes
That's
sense,
powerful.
but it
That's so power.
helps. It helps like cope with a lot of things for me.
Oh, that's so powerful. And the fact that you said that you show up and you full send it for your patients to the last freaking second, and you're like, wait, I'm doing that for them, but where in my life am I not full sending it? You see what I'm saying? So that was powerful. So I'll let you sit with that one. Um, Christine, what came up for you?
I've actually been struggling with this all week. So thank you. Um,
You're
I
welcome.
reached out to you about my identity and like trying to figure out prioritization, not being able to say no and helping others. But it's something I struggle with. It's like, okay, you call it an e-break, but how do we strengthen ourselves so it doesn't feel like an e-break, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and my thing is life doesn't get any easier, you know. People are like, oh, you should just let these things go, or you should just move on, or you should cut this out of your life. But it's like you can't just keep cutting out things that are hard. So I struggle with figuring out do I build the resilience to adapt to a situation or to adapt to the challenges of life and still be able to take care of my health, because life just gets more complicated, you know. And I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to navigate the rest, which is a big thing, before I offload and do more than I can. Um, little by little, I'm just trying to prioritize myself just to see how I can balance everything out. I'm just sort of rambling, but that's sort of my thought process right now.
And I want to let you know, Christine, the first step to this change is that awareness, right? Is to first see what the e-breaks are in our life, right? And it's a process, right? So today is like think of it like almost step one. into uncovering what those e-breaks are. And it's crazy that a lot of the e-breaks are actually connected to each other in our life, right? A lot of it stems from childhood, right? From ages 0 to 7. That's where most of our operating systems actually built. And that's how we've actually been operating in our lives. Um, so a lot of this that does come from that. Um, but the main question is to walk away from this on just opening up what is the story that I've been telling myself of who I am up until this point. Because that story of like who I am, that's why we do what we do, right? And so the first step is like, what is that story? Like, what is that story? And then the second part of that is, does that serve me or does that actually hold me back? Right. So, like, for example, my thing was like, I'm a hard worker, I'm a sacrificer because that's how my parents were, that's how my family is. Right. But then I start looking at like, wow, what other areas in my life is that actually not serving me? That mentality that I have to sacrifice in order to get something, right? Or that's even in intimate relationships, right? Is that actually serving me or is that actually hurting me? Oh, wow, I actually didn't really think of it like that, right? And so that's kind of like where we're going to be opening this up as we kind of go through this process. And so, yeah, I just invite you guys to kind of just open to that. But the fact that you already have that awareness is an amazing start. Cool. Awesome. Well, that's pretty much what I had for you guys today. Um, yeah, any last questions, any thoughts? And it could be anything. Not, with your guys' goals or anything like that. Anything that I can support you with for this week. And was this helpful? Honestly, like, was this helpful, or would you guys rather just like talk about macros nutrition moving forward? Because this is honestly for you guys, and I've been having so many conversations this past week, and so this was kind of in line with you know some of the conversations we've been having. So let me know if this was helpful, um,
Super helpful.
or not. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I think,
yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying like a lot of the issues stemming from like at least our metabolic issues is stress, right? So a lot of the stress is built into our identity and how we're dealing with life. And so this is a huge part of it. Um, and I feel like it's helpful, even though we subconsciously might know, to remind ourselves upright and be like, hey, no, this is shit you got to deal with before everything else, before the sleep, before the protein, before the workouts. It's the stress and how we live our life.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think like the mental health exercises are the ones I absolutely dread the most. And I definitely prefer like the, talking about macros, understanding the science of things, because it's just
Yep.
like I just like to hear that stuff more, but like clearly like the mental health work, the one that I dread the most talking about is what I probably need more. But
Mm.
in my opinion, I still prefer the other ones. But I know like like it's good that you talk about like the mental aspect so much because it is really important and you know, I get
That's
it.
growth right there. That's growth right. See, like that language. Look at your language, Helen. I know that it's probably not what I like to do, but it's probably what I need to do. So like I can see you as your coach. I can see your night and day different than the first day we actually had a conversation. And that's freaking awesome. Trust me, guys. I'm in the same everything that you say, Helen, I was the same way. Trust me. I just want to talk about working out and like what more can I do? You guys don't realize that past 3 days that I did this past weekend, I've never cried so much in my life. And that's almost scary to share that and be vulnerable with you guys, but how transformative, how powerful that was, it was insane. I can't even describe how much power I got back from being in such a vulnerable place and actually tapping into some of those places resonates with you too, Christine. That emotional weight that we have, that's actually mass. That's energy. Energy is just one thing. The more emotional mass that we have, it then compounds into physical form. So it's all one thing. And it sounds a little woo-woo. It's actually a freaking real thing. Like the science proves it. And so that is why you can see that this year, I'm going to head you guys more into this deep mindset identity work. because this is way more important than just a surface level nutrition macros. This gets to the root of it. Think of it like there's like a plant that's growing like a weed, and all you do is cut the top of the weed out. What's going to happen? The weed's going to keep on growing. And so you're going to go your whole life just trying to trim the weed. So now what we're doing is we're getting to the root of it. And we want to grab it at the root and we want to pull that sucker out. And it's uncomfortable. It's hard. It's not easy. And that's why most people die with regrets. And that's not what we're going to do. Okay. So cool. Well, appreciate you guys jumping on. I have a call coming up in a bit. So thanks for you guys' time. And I'll see you guys on the next one. We're going to do part 2.